everybody, this is Dee. Okay, so what do you need to make one of the mandalas? I'm using acrylic yarn this time, and this is a Hirschner's worsted yarn. And I'm using acrylic yarn. Normally I use a cotton yarn because it doesn't stretch as much, but we're going to give this a shot. And so you can use any yarn, ribbon, rope, embroidery thread, any of those kinds of things to do this. But just so you know, the thinner that it is, the more rounds you got to make. Okay, I'm using some barbecued skewers. I had them painted because I made something out of it. This is with the end pieces. And I'm making a smaller one than you're used to seeing me with because of the camera. You're going to need some scissors and any decor. Buttons, tassels, rhinestones, whatever. A lot of times I use repurposed jewelry for the center, like an old brooch or a pendant or something like that. But I'm doing a real basic one, and then you guys can decorate it however you like. But I'm using 5 different colors. You can use more colors. You can use less colors. But like I said, this is going to be my first time using the acrylic. And I also use a glue gun, just to secure things, like, for instance, the beads that I put on the end, or if I want to glue rhinestones on, that kind of thing. So you need the scissors, the sticks. You literally can go in your backyard and get them. They don't have to be perfectly straight. And a glue gun, some, embellishments, and your yarn, and that's it. All right, let's get this thing going. Okay, first off, we're going to take, these are barbecued skewers. I like to make kebabs. And at one time I painted them because I was making something else. But it's no big deal because it gets all covered with yarn. But you take a barbecued skewer and you cut it to the length that you want. I'm going to show you a small one just for the camera reasons. But, I make them huge, as you guys know if you've seen in the thumbnail. Anyways, you need 4. So this is probably the length of one. Just cut it in half, and you need 4 of them. Okay, so we're going to put 2 there. Take these 2. And let's pick a yarn. Let's pick this brown one. Okay. And I'm using the Hirschner's worsted yarn. And you can use any color you want, but this one is espresso. Okay, so we're going to take the espresso and we're going to tie a knot around 2 of the sticks. And I always tie 3 knots. That's just what I do. Make it extra tight. Okay, then you're going to wrap your yarn around it a few times. And make sure you go over that end there because you're going to cut that. Okay, so does that look like the center? That looks about like the center. Okay, then you take this and you move it to make an X. And you're going to go in the opposite direction, wrapping around it. I hope you can see this pretty good. Bless you, Mark. Okay. And we're going to make, see, if you, you want to tighten it up so that stays. So you kind of hold it. It doesn't matter if you wrap around that end, but you hold it and you wrap around a few times to secure that. Okay. Oh, I pushed it too far. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now you've got your yarn here. What you're going to do is you're going to go down and around 1, and that'll take you over on this one. And all the time you're going to hold it so it holds straight. This is the hardest part of it, is getting started. Okay? And making sure that it stays even. You're just going around it. Hold it, around it, around it. As you see, it's starting to form a triangle. Can you see? Starting to form a triangle. And you're just going to keep going around it and holding it so that it stays straight. And you're going to go around it. Let's see, for these small ones, I'd say till you have about an inch, inch and a half of a square. And I'll show you in a second. But you just keep going around it, pulling it tight as you go, around it, pulling it tight as you go. And you have to adjust it, you know, because it's not going to hold until you get really in there. Okay, so you go around and around and around. Get that end out of the way and around. You just keep going around. Alright, so we've got this much, okay? We're going to tie it off. And to tie it off, you just go over it and go through that loop and pull it tight. Adjust that so it looks straight. Kind of stretch it out a little bit. And do that a couple of times. You know me, I always tie 3 knots. And just pull it close to that triangle. Or diamond, as I should say. Okay? Just pull it close to that diamond. Alright, and then you can nip these off. So they get out of your way. Okay? Alright, so we got that one. Now we're going to do that again with this one. But this one we're going to make a little bit smaller than this one here. Okay, so we just do the same thing as we did before. Tie a knot. Tie it tight. Wrap around that, covering up some of that tail end there. And just go around it a few times. And then you take this part. Oh, I went around it too many. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to go around this part to make it like an X. Okay, and then just do the same thing as you did in this one. Go around, around, pull it tight, hold that where you want it, around, around. And once I get a halfway decent one, I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay. Alright, so we take this one and we put it on top of that one. Do you see? You're going to go the opposite direction with your sticks. Okay, let me cut this string off. Okay. Alright, so you're going to go the opposite direction, so you're making almost like a star. Okay, here comes the really hard part. So you're going to go around the one on the bottom, around the one on the top, around the one on the bottom, around the one on the top, and you're going to do that all the way around. And it's kind of hard to manipulate to hold these in the right spot, so you got to keep adjusting it as you go. You just pull it tight, but make sure they're going in the opposite directions, you know. And you keep doing that and scooching it down and making sure it's even. This is the hard part, is getting it even. You scoot that down, center it better. You're going to keep adjusting this until you get around it a few times. And adjust it. Pull it tight. you're going to keep doing this, going around, pulling it tight up against the last ones. Try to get it as even as you can. Right about there. Okay. And you're going to hold that and just keep on going. I always do it this way, but you can do it one by one if you want, but you can pull it tight up against that. Okay. So now it's starting to even out on its own, as you can see. You don't have to manipulate it so much. You just kind of hold it, pull it tight. Make sure it's staying the way it's supposed to. Okay. Alright. I think that's good enough for the center. Okay. There. That looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to cut that. Go around there and make that loop and tie it. Pull it tight. Make sure everything is even. Looks pretty good. We're going to tie it 3 times. Oops. There we go. Pull it 3 times. And leave that hanging down there. Okay. Alright, as you can see, we've kind of created an octagon. Alright, we're going to change colors now. Let's go with bright yellow. Once again, I'm using the Hirschner's worsted yarn. Okay, you don't want to tie where you left off. Just pick up a different one. Okay, so just doesn't matter which one. Just start on a different one. Tie it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Kind of slide that underneath the best you can. Scooch it up. And then for the first go around, you're going to do all of them again, like you did with the brown in the center, pulling it tight. Now when you get over to where the other knot is, you're going to go up and over it, okay? So that it's even with the other ones. Hold on. Of course, it's going to give me trouble when I'm trying to show you guys how to do it. Okay. You're going to go around a few times. Now we're going up and over that knot again. I'm going to cut this. Up and over that knot again. That looks a little uneven. Let's move in. There we go. Pull it tight. Okay, so we're just going to go around 4 times. Let's go around 4 times. So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're back where we started with the knot. So let's do 1 more round. And we're back where we started. Okay, we're going to tie this one off. What I usually do is tie these 2. I have one hanging down. You can't do it in the center one, but on your next color you can. And just tie this, the top and the bottom together, where you started, where you ended. And I always tie it in 3 let's move on to our next color. Okay, let's move on to this gold color. Let's see if I can find the center. There we go. Okay, this is where the different pattern comes in. Okay, so we're gonna start. Let's start with the bottom one, the one that's one of the ones that's lower. Okay, we're gonna tie it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Kind of push that over to the side. All right, so we're going to go under this one and over this one, under this one, over this one, under this one, over this one. At first you won't even see it. Under, over, under, over. And you keep doing that, under, over, and you'll see there'll start to be a point of your new color. Okay? You're gonna go around however many times you want to, whatever, how much of that color you want to be in there. There we go. Under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. And you see you're going to start to see the points of that color. Under, over. Adjust it. It's such a pain in the butt. Under, over, under, over. Under, over. Under, over. Under, over, under, over, under, over. And you just keep doing that. Make sure you squinch it down to the last row. Oops. That one's a little too close. Under, over, under, over, under, over. I think that's good enough. Okay, let's do our next color. See, you just gotta keep adjusting it. Okay, where do we end? Right there. Okay, so we're gonna wanna go around to where we started. And once again, tie knots. 1, 2, 3. And clip it. Okay. Alright, so we got it started. You know, it looks a little misshapen right now, but it'll be alright here in a few minutes. Just kind of stretch out our colors. Okay, now let's do white. Okay, now, because we did under this one, we're gonna start with one of the ones we went under. So one of the ones that are on the top. Tie it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Gonna push that around to the bottom. Close up there. Now we're gonna go under this and over this. Now the situation with this is you gotta kind of push that so that it's under this part evenly. Because if you don't make it even, see how it's under here? We want it to go back there. Alright? Okay. It's so hard for me to do a tutorial because I'm get nervous and I mess up. Okay. Alright. Under, over. But we make sure that it gets underneath this part here. Okay. Not the easiest to film either. Okay. Push that underneath there. Pull it tight. And as you can see, we're starting to get are starting to show. Okay. Do that a couple more times. Make sure you get it underneath that other Y or other triangle, whatever you want to say. Get it under there, kind of push it towards the middle. Same here. And as you can see, oh, that brown end is still showing. There we go. Okay, and as you can see, we're starting to see the white real good. And like I said, you can go around depending on how much color of that particular color you want to show. You can go around as many times as you want. But you go under one, over the other, and make sure that it lines up underneath. White. Where did we start? We started right here at this next one. Okay, so let me push these in, get it real tight, and tie a knot. And tie it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, snip it off. So as you can see, it's starting to color change and form. Looks pretty nice. I could quit scooting my little towel around. Okay, let's see. What should we go with? Let's go with green, and then we'll switch up the colors again. Sorry, dog alert. Oh, I got a tangle. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Alright, so we tied on to these ones. So this time we're going to do one of the bottom ones. Tie 3 times. Okay, push that down under. I usually do this in cotton yarn, but you can do it. This is acrylic, so it's a little more stretchier than usual. To be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever done it in acrylic yarn. So my suggestion would be stick with cotton. It doesn't stretch as much. Okay, so we're going to go under the white and around the yellow, making sure that it's underneath of the other. Pull it tight. Under one, over. Under one, over. And we're going to keep doing that until we get as much of this color as we want. Yeah, it's the first time I've done it with acrylic, and I'm going to say I think the cotton yarn doesn't stretch as much and it stays in place better. But I'm going to continue on with this one. Under one, over the other. And then pull it tight. Yeah, this acrylic yarn definitely stretches more. It's hard to get it to stay straight. That's good enough. We stopped where we left off last time, and we're just going to tie a knot. 2 and 3. Grab my scissors and cut that one off. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to go back to the gold. Where's the gold? There we go. Okay. Because you were on these ones, now you're on the bottom ones, you're going to start this one on the top one. Let's start with the yellow. Oops. And of course I get yarn barf. Okay, so we're going to start on this level, on the top. You just go back and forth, top to bottom, top to bottom. Tie-dye. Okay. Push that up close. Now we're going to go under this one, over this one, under this one, over this one, and pull it tight. Make sure it's underneath that green point. Yeah, this is not my best rendition of this, but I didn't know acrylic yarn would stretch so much. I think I'd know this being a crocheter, right? Okay. Anyways, just make sure it's up and tight underneath that green. Yeah, definitely doesn't hold up. Okay. Go around a few times. I got a knot, so I will be back in a moment. Okay. I think that's about enough. Alright, so we're going to tie it and wrap it around, pull it tight, tie it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and snip it. Okay, for the next one, let's see, now we'll do the gold color. Alright, so we were working on the top one, so now we're going to go on to the bottom one. And you can decide how many rounds of this you want before you switch up. But I think I'm going to do a couple more rounds of this kind up and unders. Okay, so tie it 3 times. Okay, so this is up, under, up. Making sure that it pushes up and under there. Yeah, this definitely stretches more with the acrylic, but still works. You can still do it. I was still filming. Okay, just do as many of these up and under, up and under, up and under, all the way around until you got as many as you want. I'll be back. Okay, I reached the end. I think that's good enough. And we're going to tie it off again. So tie it 3 times. 1. Pull it too tight. 1, 2, 3, and clip it. Okay, the next one, we are going to do a different color, or a different, I don't guess you'd call this a stitch. I guess you would call it just a go round. Okay, so we are going to skip 2 this time. So let's see, we'll start here. I'm going to go with the brown. And we're going to tie it 3 times. Okay. All right, so we're gonna skip 2. 1, 2, and we're gonna go way over here. Make sure that it's tucked underneath. Skip 2, go way over here. Skip 2, go way over here. Make sure that it's under. Skip 2, go over here. 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 And as you can see, there's brown on every single one now. And then you just keep going around. Skip 2, skip 2, skip 2, oops, skip 2. Let me make some adjustments here. Okay, skip 2, skip 2, skip 2, skip 2, skip 2, and just go around as many times as you, oh, wrong one, as many times as you like skipping 2, and I'll be back. Okay, so now I've cut and tied the brown, and I think we're gonna start doing the outer ring, because this one's not very big. I usually do it a lot bigger, but we'll start with white. Okay, so for the white, it doesn't matter where you start. This would be the outer ring, which is a different way of wrapping than the other way. I'm so used to calling everything stitches. Okay, all right, so you're gonna go wrap around every single one, right at the tip of your brown. Let me pull some yarn out. There we go. And scooch it down, make sure it's all connected. There we go. And you're gonna go around. Now with this, I always do it 4 times. Scooch it in, tighten it up. So there's 2. Like I said, you're gonna do it around every single one. Scoot it in, pull it tight. This is hard to do on camera, guys. But I promised you I'd do it, so here we are. Okay. This is number 4, so we're looking for that end, which is right here. So we're gonna stop there, and we're gonna tie it off. Okay, let's see. Let's do green. And my green is a big hot mess. Here in birth. Okay, once again, tie it anywhere you want. Okay. And we'll do 4 again. Every single one. Like I said, with cotton yarn, it's not stretchy and it's a little neater, so I would suggest cotton. Just kind of tighten it up, push it all down, pull it tight. Okay, that's number 3. end. Tie it off. Well, I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to go with brown. Once again, you can tie it anywhere you want. And you're going to go around every single one. Like I said, this is not as neat as the cotton ones. I didn't take into consideration the acrylic yarn would stretch, so I would definitely say go with the cotton. And just go around. And I'm going to keep going around until I'm right up here at the end, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I went right to the end with the brown. I just tied it off like we did all the other colors. Okay, now comes the decorating. For the decorating, we're going to take our hot glue gun. I'm going to use a couple of these. I thought those would be kind of cool. I even have, I have some beads and all that I showed you in the beginning. Nah, I don't want to ruin that. Maybe I'll hang that from the bottom. Anyways, I'm going to hot glue beads. I have some black beads here, and I'm going to hot glue them right on the ends of that. So it looks like that all the way around. Then I'm also going to take a little bit of each color, and I'm going to make a loop, and I'll show you how I attach it to hang it up. Okay, I got all the different colored yarns. I'm going to say about that long. We're going to make the hanger for it. And, you know, you can crochet the hanger. You can use pre-made tassels. You could do any of that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to show you the easy route. I'm going to use all the different colors of yarn, and then I'm just going to tie it off like that. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to glue this, make that the top. Glue this right here to be, let's see if my hot glue gun's, yep, it's ready to go. To be the tassel. Or I'm sorry, the hanger. Okay, so I'm just going to do this and kind of push it all down. Okay, so now we got our hanger. Now, like I said, you could, you know, crochet that, whatever. You could use tassels. I'm thinking about using this tassel here. Maybe down here at the bottom. I'm going to glue the beads. Let's do that. I got some glue on my fingers. Okay, so I'm going to take some beads, wooden beads. And I'm using a hot glue gun. And I'm just going to go around and put it on the ends of all this, all the sticks. And then once I got those on, I'm going to push that yarn down a little bit so that it covers right to the end. Okay, I'm going to do that and I'm going to come right back. Okay, now I've got all the beads glued on. I still got some of the spider webs from the glue. Anyways, I got all the beads glued on. Now we have to decide what we're going to do, if we want to hang some tassels or beads or combo of the two. I decided not to use the sunflower. I think it's just too large for this one. So anyways, I'll be back and I'll show you what I decided to do with the rest of the decorations. Okay, alright, so we got all the beads on, and I got these tassels. I got them from Temu. But anyways, you can put those wherever you want. I'm going to put them towards the bottom. You can hot glue these on if you want, but if you loop them around and just kind of twist them and loop them and twist them and loop them, they'll stay on there. Okay, so we got that one. Let's put, I'll put this one over here. Just kind of loop it around. And it looks like it 3 times and it goes around this bead, but it's going to depend on what you do. But you can glue them on here too. And there's that one. Let's put a brown one over here. Just kind of twist it and loop it around. Twist it and loop it around again. Okay. Alright, and then on the bottom, I'm going to put this one. This one was like a leftover from something that I did. And it has this little thing here, which I'm going to glue on the back of here. And I'll be right back. Okay. Let me flip this over. And I got some webs from the glue. Alright, so I'm just going to glue this like right here. So let me put this glue on here. You know, you can secure it on other ways too if you want. Totally up to you. But this is our very basic. Now you can get all fancy with your decorations and put beads on it. Like I have a bunch of beads here and tassels or sequins or whatever, you know. Maybe put a sequence in the center or whatever. I've done them so many different kinds of ways that I wanted to just give you kind of a basic version, and that's it. It's pretty simple. Like I said, that beginning is a pain in the butt, but after you get past that beginning, it's relatively simple. And the bigger you make it, obviously, the more of each of those rows of different, like I said, lines or stitches, however you want to put it, you would make. Like, this was one of those great big ones. I would have done this one probably that big, and then I would start it out with a go under one and did that about that big, and then the under two and do that big, and then this last rounding part I would have done for the rest. Another thing I wanted to tell you is that if once you glue on your beads, if you have some extra stick sticking out here and you don't like it, you can just do another round afterwards. You just tie it in and do one more round to cover up the bare spot, you know, of the stick that you have there. But anyways, that's it. Very simple. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Love ya.
Let me know if you can hear me clear. Much love, my friends. We're all here. Drop your drop, come join the day. Hippy dippy vibes, lead the way. No drama here, just peace and thread. Be positive, lift up instead. Creative hands and yarn that flows. A circle of hearts where kindness grows.